And we are rolling on March 15th, a very beautiful day at UCLA in Los Angeles. The sunshine is shining as usual. We're about to debate a very important question, and that is, should we arm everyone? I repeat, should we arm everyone? For the affirmative, or the government, will be Jeffrey, and on the negative, Angela. I can't read that. Wow. Angela. Will be Angela. Let's call this House to order. Hear from the affirmative for a speech not to exceed 7 minutes in length. Yeah, stand right there, and you're kind of tall, so I'll have to adjust the camera. Do you have a coat?
Do I have a what? A coat. No.
Because you're wearing a white shirt and I have a white background. Here, yeah, loan him your coat. Nice cardigan, yeah. Polo. Yeah, that's better. Good taste. Yeah, that's better. Now we can see you. Good, yeah. Okay. And we are rolling.
Hi, my name is Jeffrey.
Hi, Jeffrey.
I'm going to begin now. Okay. This proposition is to be presented in a policy case in the affirmative. What is the problem? People are dying. The mass shootings in Inland Regional Center in California on December 5th, 2015 is clear evidence of people dying because they were not armed to defend themselves. CNN reported Farouk attended a holiday party at Inland Regional Center in San Bernardino, California. It's a facility for people with developmental disabilities. There they fired 65 to 75 rounds, and killing 14 people and wounding 21. In addition to that, in November of 2015, in Planned Parenthood Center in Colorado, 3 people were shot and killed, and 9 others injured, as reported by LA Times in 2015. Also, gun violence has taken a heartbreaking toll on too many communities across the country. Over the past decade in America, more than 100,000 people have been killed as a result of gun violence, and millions more have been victims of assaults, robberies, and other crimes involving a gun. And this was given by a report in the White House in 2016.
Good.
Furthermore, illegal gun accessibility is high. Firearms ownership is much more common among people who have been arrested than it is in the general population. Arrestees say that it is easy and it takes little time for them to obtain firearms illegally, as quoted by the National Institute of Justice in 2021. Data from the Drug Use Forecasting Program were used to explore the extent of firearm ownership and possession among arrestees and the ease with which they can be acquired illegally. More than 7,000 arrestees in 11 major urban areas that participated in the DUF program were interviewed for a study. More than half of the arrestees said that they paid cash for the gun they obtained most recently. The illegal firearm market as most likely the legal firearm market as a most likely source of handgun is suggested by the case by the ease which guns are obtained by the arrestees and the tendencies. Sorry, I got lost here. Fully 37% of the arrestees indicate they could obtain a gun in less than 1 week. 1 in 5 suggested they would only need 1 day or even less time. adding credibility to the notion that the urban firearms market is quite accessible. This was quoted by the National Institute of Justice in 2001. Ordinary citizens have a hard time taking full advantage of their constitutional rights because of all the restrictions that left-wing politicians place to get a gun. President Obama said that the following in his gun law speech. And we need voters who want safer guns and who are disappointed in leaders who stand in their way to remember come election time. How big is the problem? The problem is tremendously huge. There's absolutely no doubt that people are dying because of crimes committed for the most part by illegal guns. In addition, violent crimes are increasing in the U.S. Crimes with illegal guns are high in the U.S. Just in 2016, the Gun Violence Archive, a nonprofit organization focused in conducting gun research, reported that there had been 2,517 deaths in the U.S. due to gun crimes. In addition, there has been 49 mass shootings just this year, also 439 invasions. The numbers are increasing as the year progresses. Also, people with criminal record have an extremely high access to legal guns. In a study done by the National Institute of Violence, which was published in 2001, one of every 5 individuals with criminal record suggested they would need only 1 day or even less to gain access to legal weapons. Furthermore, people are not armed, therefore they can't defend themselves, and many are dying. As we see in the Inland Regional Center shooting, this is a clear example of this. This center provides disability services to disabled, and they could not defend themselves because they didn't have a weapon or a gun. Furthermore,
2 left.
Gangs are growing and the threat is growing. Criminal gang membership is increasing. Why do we have the problem? Because they're not, people are dying because they're not armed and can't defend themselves. In addition, illegal gun accessibility is high and there are too many restrictions and requirements to purchase and own a gun legally. Also, there are not enough cops to protect every single citizen every minute. A lot of people do not want to be cops because of the anti-cop spirit that has formed in previous years. Therefore, we don't have a lot of protection, and that's why we need guns. What is the solution? We need to arm everyone. Also, the government can arm everyone with at least a handgun and can track those who have weapons. Currently, a company named Yardem has designed technology that would revolutionize police work. And pretty much you can track guns down when given. Also, we need to promote our constitutional rights through education. We need to teach students about the benefits of having Second Amendment rights and how to use those rights appropriately. Will the solution work? This solution will work because it will give everyone the ability to defend themselves. As mentioned earlier, many of the massive shootings that have happened in the last few years could have had less victims if ordinary citizens had at least a handgun. We need to arm everyone. If we arm everyone, our nation will become a bloodbath of confused individuals with no understanding of how to use guns. What are the advantages of the proposal? The advantage is that people will be able to defend themselves. Also, people will learn to better appreciate the Second Amendment of the Constitution. On balance, what outweighs? The proposed solutions outweigh everything. People have the constitutional right to bear arms and defend themselves.
That's time. Thank you very much. I now stand open for cross-examination and points of clarification. Stand close together at the center of the room, please. Pretend to like each other. Yes, that's good. Yeah, good. Okay. There's 3 minutes have started, ma'am.
Cool. Great speech, Jeffrey. I actually have a few questions for you, if you don't mind. Within your brief, you said that one of your solutions was that we need to arm every single good citizen. So what exactly is the judgment between who is good and who is bad?
Well, pretty much all the criminals who have criminal record, they have easy access to guns and weapons. They don't need to go through the usual process to get a gun. So it's not necessary to arm them because they are already armed. So therefore, we should be focused in arming good citizens who don't have a criminal record. They're the ones who need the weapons to defend themselves.
So
Stand closer
it is
together,
a
please.
possibility that people who don't have a criminal record could also be considered bad. I'm really wondering what the judgment between those
Look
two
out
are.
here, you're trying to persuade
right,
us.
correct.
Yeah.
And within your policy brief, it does say arm everybody, so that means everybody is going to be armed. This includes good people, bad people, and criminals. So I just wanted to make that point.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
I agree with the point that we should arm everyone, but
Including criminals.
as I mentioned earlier, criminals are already armed. They don't need to get armed again. They have easy access to guns. They can pretty much buy guns over the black market and all that. So we
Okay.
don't need to arm them. They're pretty much armed.
Okay, another point was that you stated that criminals have a lot of easy access to illegal guns as well as many other citizens. So what is the difference between getting your hands on an illegal gun and just arming everyone because they're guns anyways? So everyone's going to get their hands on a gun at the end of the day.
As I mentioned in my brief, if we arm everyone legally, especially those who don't have criminal record, because we don't need to arm criminals. We can actually put a tracker in the guns and track
But the brief
down
says arm everybody. So criminals are a part of everybody. I hope you know that.
Yeah, but the thing is that they already are armed, so we don't need to arm them anymore.
Look over here.
But that's,
Persuade us.
you're being hypocritical because it says arm everybody and criminals are a part of everybody.
No,
Is that correct?
I agree.
One left.
Yeah, it is a constitutional right to bear arms, and I think that everyone deserves the right to take advantage of the constitutional right. So, of course, we should arm everyone, but as I mentioned earlier, criminals they have access to weapons, so there's no need to give them weapons. They already have them, so why am I going to give them
So
weapons?
how are you going to keep track of that, though? If they got their hands on a gun illegally, how are you going to know that?
30
they had it or
left.
not?
So whenever they commit a crime, obviously we're going to find out if they got the gun illegally. And usually when a criminal gets...
How?
Well, when they
What are the
commit...
specifics?
When they commit crimes, then we're going to know that they got the gun illegally. So that's how we can track them down.
You're not giving me specifics. Is there any way that you could provide a specific system to how you'll know if somebody is a criminal, they committed a crime, and they have their hands on an illegal handgun? Because
That's
sometimes
time.
you don't know that.
Sorry.
No worries.
Okay, the chair will now recognize the leader of the opposition for her speech not to exceed 7 minutes in length to tell us why we should not arm everyone.
I think I can start.
As soon as I push this little button. Yes.
Yeah? Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Angela. I'm going to be...
Hi, Angela.
Hi, presenting this proposition in the policy case of the negative. So, what is the problem? There are 3 problems. First case, guns were made to kill. The invention of the firearm as a weapon began as early as the 13th century with the official invention of the hand-automated firearm in 1892. This is reported by the NRA. There has been a long history of weapon as a source of defense. As long as a man has used weapons, they have been among the most important tools used to efficiently provide food as well as protection since the earliest settlements in time, PBS 2013. So how exactly did this invention come about? Firearms obviously served one single and sole purpose, and that was to kill. This done through providing food in early settlements, through hunting, as well as shooting invaders as a source of protection. The world population, but more importantly, America in general, has taken advantage of this purpose, taking it outside the concept of protection, providing, and enforcing. Second point, guns kill too many people. For centuries, men and women have considered guns to be the most effective weapon that one can wield, from personal protection to enforcing or defying the law. Have we really used firearms in the most efficient ways? We are killing way too many people. In the third case, the so-called right to protect. America has this stigma that individuals have the right to protect themselves, and of course we do. But how connected is this to owning a gun? There are more guns owned by civilians in the U.S. than any other country. 88 out of 100 people in the U.S. own a gun versus the second highest, Yemen, which is 55 out of 100 people. This is a significant leap with a 33% gap between the 2 highest gun-populated countries in the world, despite the law of Center to Prevent Gun Violence. The right to protect oneself is essentially a cycle. When it comes to owning a gun, we're protecting oneself from another owner of a gun who's also posing as a threat. So it's essentially a cycle from gun to gun. Take the guns out of both of their hands, problem solved, right? How big is the problem? This problem is obviously huge, as gun control in general has had a hot topic of debate in the United States for years. The longer we wait, the more people killed. Let's stop dragging the rug from under us and solve this problem once and for all. You want to end the murders and hundreds of lives of innocent people? Just take the guns out of the hands of everyone. First case, mass shootings. It affects our schools. Virginia Tech, Sandy Hook, UC Santa Barbara. 22-year-old student Elliot Roger, with the right to own a gun, killed 6 innocent students, and based on his rage and dissatisfaction with his college experience, he used his right to bear arms to murder 6 innocent students at UCSB. Here at UCLA, with a single wrong impression, we could be the next victims of an attack based on one's right to own a gun. It affects racial justice. Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, and Freddie Gray. Walking into his father's home in the evening of February 26th following a visit from the convenience store where he bought candy and a canned drink, Martin was shot in the chest by neighborhood security George Zimmerman due to Martin's suspicious behavior, the Atlantic 2015. It affects social growth and opportunities from the rise of gangs from Compton to Chicago. Chicago, with the highest crime rate in the nation, has continued to rise 75% since January of this year. By the end of January, there has been 51 murders, a majority caused by gang violence with the possession of a firearm. ABC News, 2016. We all know that these devastating losses and movements, yet we refuse to do anything about it because we so selfishly want to acquire a damn gun because we have the right to protect. But the real question is, who are we protecting? The death toll. In 2014, guns took the lives of 31,000 Americans in homicides, suicides, and unintentional shootings. This is equivalent to more than 85 deaths per day and more than 3 deaths an hour. In a study in the Journal of Trauma and Acute Care Surgery, it was found that every time a gun in a home was used in self-defense or a legally justifiable shooting, there were 4 unintentional shootings, 7 criminal assaults or homicides, and 11 attempted or completed suicides. So why do we have this problem? Easy access. Federal law sets the minimum standards for firearm regulation in the United States, but individual states
3
have their own laws, some more lenient than others. There's no way to really keep track of what is regulated or not on a balanced level, and poor leadership and lack of action. We have leaders in this country who are approving and encouraging the ownership of a firearm, but with no substance behind it. We have Jeb Bush's America tweet, and then we have Ben Carson saying that the Holocaust would have been greatly diminished if Jews had guns. Do we want these people to lead our population into owning more guns, and for what reasons? So then I move on to the solution. We need to figure out a way to efficiently de-arm those who are posing a risk to society by basically revoking all firearms from the whole population. So obviously the first solution is de-arm everybody, but this could be done through the following specific steps. First, elect a strong leader.
Trump.
Huh? No. Okay, elect a strong leader, but we make any leaps. We as a country, and especially as our youth with a voice, must take the first step in making changes to our country. With only 20% of millennial populations taking part in politics in general, we need to get extremely more involved. Second step, enact gun laws. From this point, we need to find a voice for our nation. We need to enact gun laws stating to revoke firearms from the hands of all. And then curate an efficient transition. For obvious reasons, there's no quick way to do this, so the solution may take months to even years. We must take this transition and make it as smooth as possible by first enacting stronger gun laws. Second, we must transition into revoking firearms from citizens, allowing firearms to be held by the properly trained and educated law enforcement. And then C, we would eventually transition from a firearm-heavy country to a firearm-empty country. So once this solution is completed, there will be a significant drop in violence, murders, homicides, and suicides. Our country in general would be taken much more seriously and less as a joke. Although we are not a perfect world, we would living in much more peace without hearing gun bullets from ear to ear. So would this solution work? Absolutely. We live in a cycle, you guys. We live in a cycle where we're killing people with guns because those people with guns are killing people with guns. Do we want this whole cycle to be repeated over and over and over again? The only reason to create real peace in this world is by revoking the guns from all. That way we can only use our fists and then nobody will really get hurt that much. We'll just get bruised. So yeah, there's huge advantages to my proposal. It's basic. We'll be saving the lives of hundreds and thousands of people. And when it comes to balance, what outweighs? Obviously, my solution outweighs the other. We would be a huge bloodbath if we all had guns in our hands. If somebody walked through here and started shooting all of us, and all of us pulled out all of our guns and started shooting him, one of us is going to get hurt, or even more of us would get hurt. So in conclusion, we need to de-arm every single person in the world if we have to, but honestly, we'll start with America. Thanks.
6:48. I now stand open for cross-examination and points of clarification. Thank you for waiting respectfully at the door until your colleague finished speaking. Could you come to the center, both of you, that way? Or that way, yeah. Okay, rock and roll. What?
Okay.
Trump's up by 27 points in Florida, yeah. You're getting your wish of a strong leader.
I don't want him to be president. I don't know why you're saying that.
Rock and roll, big guy.
Okay, so you said that guns were made to kill people.
They absolutely were
Okay,
killed.
so I'm going to ask you a question.
Yes, what's up?
Is it also possible to use guns to defend ourselves? Yes or no?
Yeah, by killing someone.
But can you defend yourself using a gun?
Absolutely you can.
Okay.
But then you could hurt somebody while doing it. That's the problem.
Okay, so how are you supposed to defend yourself without a gun?
There are things called like tasers and knives and pepper spray.
I have another question now.
Okay.
If you say you want to disarm everyone, how are you supposed to do that, considering that there's always criminals and we don't have the institutions to actually disarm every single criminal in the nation and every single person in the nation?
That's why I'm saying it may take months or even years. So
How
the
many
transition,
months?
I mean, it's an estimate. You can't want to implement something and then give an exact time unless you've figured out your whole steps. So I guess my steps would be to transition from taking guns out of the hands of all citizens and then leaving guns in the hands of law enforcement and keeping them properly trained and enforced. I could say the same for you. How many months is it going to take for you to arm every single person? What's the budget going to be? None of us are really going to know unless we really figure out the steps before transitioning into a certain plan.
You also mentioned something about the school shootings.
Yes.
If those students or faculty have had a gun to defend themselves, would they have been able to defend themselves and probably have less casualties?
Well, that's why I was saying if somebody walked through this door with a gun and all of us had guns and we would all be like, oh fuck, and then want to kill them, right? Then we'd all shoot each other. Like, we would hurt somebody in this room. Like, trying to shoot one person, I'd rather that we not.
But at the end you would defend
And if we're
ourselves.
thinking about a situation of this guy who had a gun and we took that gun out of his hand and he brought a knife in, right? And he'd want to go for one guy with a knife, and then we had a really strong guy like Sam want to tackle him, then it's a lot easier. There would be less casualties than him coming in with a gun and wanting to shoot all like 10 of these people really easily than, you know, using his strength to stab every single one of us.
Okay, and then last question.
1 minute left.
You said that there's a 31K in homicides?
Yes.
You mentioned something like that, okay.
Yes.
Do you think that restricting guns will solve the problem of crime?
Absolutely. Absolutely, I think it would.
Do you actually think that we're going to be able to restrict
Look at
every
me.
single criminal, considering that they
Absolutely
purchase
not.
guns in the black
I
market?
think it's really tough. That's why I think the best solution for illegal guns is to improve background checks, improve border control, in order to prevent these guns from being smuggled into
We don't
our
have the
country.
institutions to do that yet.
And we don't have the institutions to arm everybody. Right?
Okay, I guess that's time. Thank you. Okay, it's now time for the 4 steps of refutation. First from the affirmative, from the government. She said, I disagree because therefore.
She said that we should disarm everyone because guns kill people. I disagree because people are dying because they're not armed. In addition to that, gangs are growing and the threat is also growing. And lastly, we need to take advantage of our constitutional rights.
That's your rebuttal?
Therefore, I believe that we should arm everyone.
Okay. Thank you. That was 25 seconds. Yeah. Okay, good. Angela, you have 3 minutes to refute all of his arguments.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So a lot of what Jeffrey said he believed had a lot of substance, but there are a lot of loopholes in his solutions that I definitely wanted to point out. So one of the most important things was that he stated that illegal guns, for the most part, are what's damaging, our whole world, and that's not true because 80% of mass shootings are obtained legally, guns that are obtained legally. So that's also a loophole that I wanted to state. A second thing that I wanted to state was that he continually stated that he wanted to arm good people, but then again, good people and bad people, there's really no judgment between who is good and who is bad, and then who's a criminal. When you're arming everybody, and that is extremely hypocritical to your policy, so I think it's extremely important to keep that in mind. Also, another thing that he stated was that he wanted to educate students in schools about gun awareness and gun safety, similarly to alcoholics awareness and sex ed. But these are extremely different things because how can we trust people to be responsible with guns and teach in schools like sex ed and alcoholism's awareness when we can't even put on a condom when we're having sex? Or better yet, handle our liquor. People are getting DUIs all the time. And for guns, it's not like you're going to grab an Uber and a Lyft and get home and be safe, and you're not going to have a condom and be safe. There's a trigger, and you're going to press on it, and you're going to kill somebody. It's very tough to enact that in schools and especially be safe about it, and I think that's the biggest loophole, is that it's life or death when it comes to gun. It's not getting into a crash when you're drunk or getting pregnant when you're having sex with somebody. So in conclusion, they say to arm everybody. We disagree because it is completely unsafe and impractical, and therefore we should de-arm everybody. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. That was 1:57. Does anyone need a ballot?
I do.
Okay. Has the roll sheet circulated around?
It's right there.
Right here. Great, thank you. Does anyone have any extra ballots? My ballots don't seem to be here.
Yeah.
Do you have some you can pass out? Great.
Professor, I don't think we signed the roll sheet.
You didn't sign
Did
the
you
roll.
sign it, Jeff?
Sign the roll sheet. Okay, deliberate. Think about your decision. Be prepared to give a reason why you voted the way you did.
Yeah.
Really? I thought Thursday we were returning. Thursday? Oh shit. Okay, well I gotta go print out all my stuff. No, I have to debate next week. I told you.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a couple miles.
It's really bad. Ask anyone else from the team.
No.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Are you in charge of the city today?
No.
Are you not? Oh, yeah. One more. No. We have this holiday where we come with a flyer.
No, I know.
Oh, you know what? Yeah.
Never begin, so I know.
Oh, so you know about this?
I
Yeah. Did you vote? Yeah, with my mom's and stuff.
Okay, may I have the ballots, please?
You were black most of you? No. For the donors? Yeah, festival. Every year you should go and see it.
Yeah, can you no, you're staying on camera.
Oh, yeah, always come out.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's not a
Oh, there it is, right there. I needed that.
Trump's losing the lead. Only up 18 points.
He's only about in Indiana.
No, in Florida. I'm only looking at Florida, that's all that matters.
Okay, do I have all the ballots? Do I have all the ballots? Yes? I see. Are those ballots for the next time? You've all turned your ballots in? Okay, good. Everyone's voted?
Yeah. Oh.
No, you turned it in.
Oh.
On an 08 decision, the
Oh, wait, I didn't submit one. I'll just keep my screen person.
oh 09 decision,
A 1-9 decision.
a 1-9 decision.
Got you, board.
Okay, a 1-9 decision. The decision goes to the opposition that we should not arm everyone. And in fact, she had a counter plan that we're supposed to de-arm everyone. Yikes. Yes, sir.
My name is Sam, and I
Hi, Sam.
voted for Angela because her reputation stood out, and that sort of solidified my choice. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, her refutation you liked.
Hi, I'm Matt.
Hey, Matt.
I voted for Angela because I thought she pointed out some of the loopholes inside of Jeffrey's proposition, and when he had a chance to really, I thought he composed himself very well during the cross-examination, but during the refutation, he didn't really drive it home for us.
No, yeah, 25-second refutation was telling.
Hi, my name is Jorge.
Hi, Jorge.
So I thought Jeffrey's sources were very good. He actually did cite them. Angela did cite some of them, but then goes more towards the middle and the end of her presentation. Also, Jeffrey's presentation is just like a little bit harder to listen to, just because he talked a lot slower. Angela, she was a lot more fluid. She also threw in a few impactful examples. I do recall something about a condom and an Uber home. This definitely got my attention. And however, when she talked, she did like detract my attention from her message when she used some words like in an interesting way, like stigma of defending ourselves, and to the arm. I believe it's this arm.
Yes.
But other than that, she did a great job. Very fluid and very.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, sir.
My name's Nandit.
Hi, Nandit.
I voted in favor of the opposition.
Hands out of your pocket, please.
Sorry. Originally, I was leaning towards Jeff in the beginning. He had even gone as far to kind of knife or critique Angela's core point about just the harm onto other individuals, and a knife. He pointed out that a knife and other options would still be harmful. But later on, he kind of slacked on the terms of refuting her arguments, and she kind of found flaws in all of his arguments, and thus I voted for her.
Okay, thank you, Nandy. Yes, please.
Hi, I'm Diego.
Hi, Diego.
Hi.
You move over that way just a little bit. No, you. I just want one person in the picture at a time. Yeah, thanks.
So I voted in favor of the opposition.
Uh-huh.
I did like her fluid speaking style. It was very engaging. While I do recommend that there was maybe I felt like there was a little bit of reliance on some circular logic and circular reasoning between, the gun, arming someone with a gun is to protect someone who else has a gun, so it's a cycle. And there's like a clear, there's a flaw in that reasoning. So that was one thing that I would critique. But mainly, Jeffrey, if you would have really drilled home in the refutation on some of those points, I think you would have done a little bit better in terms of the debate, and maybe a little bit more engaging speaking style would have helped your case as well. So yeah.
Okay, those are very helpful. Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Brian.
Hi, Brian.
I voted for the opposition. I just thought the opposition had a really good structure you laid out. Your 3 problems, bam, 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 and then you just had good use of parallel structure. And your refutation was my primary reason. You just refuted his illegal guns being the main problem, and you refuted that the mass shootings mainly came from legal guns, and yeah.
Good. Yes, he came late. Yes, sir. He came early.
I did. Hi, my name's Josh. And,
Hi, Josh. Can you move over, sir?
What do I do?
Move over.
You're in the picture, yes. Thank you.
All good. Like Brian mentioned, I really like the structure. I like the game plan that you set up. Very easy to follow. And I also like the tone you set out. I got a really good first impression when you did the first cross-examination. It was calm and collected, but at the same time you were mentioning points that the holes in his debate in the first place. So yeah, hats off to both of you.
Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Jason.
Hi, Jason.
Hi. So I thought both arguments were very well structured. I voted in favor of the opposition, Angela, for several reasons. One, I felt like Angela's cross-examination pointed out a lot of fallacies in Jeffrey's argument, such as how can you tell who's a good citizen if because he was saying, oh, we should arm only good citizens, but you have to kind of define that. And then what was I going to say? And then the idea about putting a tracker to arm people illegally, that kind of confused me, because how are you going to put a tracker in all these guns? The expenses that come with that, it's going to kind of outweighs the benefits.
Yeah, it seems like science fiction to me, but yeah.
In an ideal society that would be cool, but that's not gonna happen. And then one thing I wanted to say also about Angela's argument, I thought her argument was very nice, her cross-examination as well as a refutation. I feel because since both of these sides kind of want to reach the ultimate goal of trying to save people, so save lives. So I think maybe Angela, she kind of did bring it up in her when Jeffrey was cross-examining her, but I feel like maybe she could have focused on, oh, okay, how about not arming everyone and finding different ways to protect people? You know, there's, you know, like tasers that she brought up, like maybe talking about like martial arts or self-defense techniques that we could teach to people. Maybe, you know, that would have driven her point. No, I don't know, I'm just giving like examples, but like that would have like further showed her benefits.
Okay. Good thought. Yes, please.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth.
Hi, Elizabeth.
I voted for the opposition. The reason being was more manner, more so than matter. I actually really wish that you tried a little bit harder in your rebuttal because I feel like you really could have won this debate. So I commend Angela for really engaging with the debate and taking time to do a rebuttal. But just a few things. First of all, you spent 2 minutes talking about how criminals have illegal access to guns, right? So basically, in a world in which guns are legal and in which they're illegal, like they are for criminals, those criminals still have guns, right? So in both worlds, this threat still exists. So in your world, it's actually beneficial to arm everyone because what it does is you have the opportunity to defend yourself, right? So it's like a prisoner's dilemma, right? Are criminals armed in both worlds? Yes. So now civilians need to be armed too so that we can have this overall deterring effect. So I feel like you should have really emphasized the fact that you spent 2 minutes talking about how criminals have illegal access to guns. So this again would completely disprove her counter plan, which is to disarm everyone. She says,
Right.
Let's take the gun out of both hands, problem solved. But the problem is not solved because there are people who aren't supposed to have guns that do, right? Anytime you ban anything does not mean that it's not going to exist. Prohibition, for example, ban was implemented, people were still drinking, right? So she's not really solving for anything, and we think that in her world it's more dangerous because people are left without anything to defend themselves with. So you should have really framed the debate to be that way. And then you also should have extended your Second Amendment's rights. You had that in your constructive. If her plan is to disarm everyone, we're talking about the United States, right? The Second Amendment is extremely critical to the population of the United States, and so her plan is going to have major backlash. So you could have criticized her plan as well. But again, thank you for participating in the debate. You had so many things you could have said, but good job doing your research. So.
How'd you give it to Ned with that RFD?
One more before you stand up. I want to say one thing about what Elizabeth said.
I can't make arguments for him.
One more issue is that, there's a lot of evidence, you probably have come across it, that says when there are these strict prohibitions, the law-abiding citizens give up their guns, but the criminals keep theirs.
Yeah.
And then you have a real
It's worse.
imbalance.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So I actually did give
Name?
I'm Austin. I actually gave it to Jeffrey on the app. So I guess I'll say why. One, so I think you definitely. I won't say you won. I'll say that I think Angela, you lost it for yourself on this one. And the reason why is because really what happened is when you came up here, Jeffrey's the harder side, I think, really. Saying you should arm everyone sounds inherently dangerous to everyone. Mm-hmm. But the thing is that when you come up here and counterplan, you change the burden of proof. On op, you just need to normally negate the problem. Mm-hmm. Exactly. But when you come up as op, you put on the burden as your plan has to be as good, if not better, than their plan. So you gave yourself a whole burden of proof. And then adding on to that, you come up here and you give a whole 3 minutes counter exam, cross-ex, which is great. You just destroy him for not having details. And then you give a counter plan and then don't give any details and say I don't have any details for it. So at that point, maybe you negated him, but if you couldn't give your details back of your counter plan, you guys are on the same level. So since you guys were on the same level with that in terms of specifics for the plan, the one thing we were left with was Jeffrey's idea that guns are still going to be out there. And you didn't bring it in your rebuttal, but I still think the fact that you did spend 2 minutes on it, I thought it still stood. I don't think it was ever contested that criminals are not going to lose their guns. I don't think we got the good link that somehow criminals are going to lose them just because we're saying we're going to de-arm everyone. So because Jeffrey did have the point that the criminals were still there, and because the burden was now to actually show why disarming is better, I thought that actually Jeffrey was one, because in a world where criminals have guns, I think it makes more sense to have safe people, to give normal people guns too, instead of just having criminals have guns, and everyone who use a gun for self-defense be unarmed now.
Okay, those were good points.
Yeah.
Let me say a couple of things about this debate. I think that I want you all to remember when you have competing policies and someone says, you're right, we have a problem, but I have a better solution. Then the problem is no longer at issue any longer. They both agree we have a problem. And the only question is which plan best solves the problem. And that's why I had some concerns as to why Angela chose to create this astounding counter plan, wherever you are.
I had to do that, sorry, that was my bad.
You just want, that's what you felt you wanted to do, and the policy you wanted
I
to
thought
propose.
I had to do disarm.
Right, okay.
But it's
You felt, you could have just, I think, just left it, that his policy alone
Right.
is not enough, is not gonna work, and kept with the status
Yeah.
quo of it's not going to work. I thought that you spent an inordinate amount of time, Jeffrey, on the top, on the mass shootings that weren't really linked to, didn't have any link to people being able to use their guns to fire back. Your illegal gun accessibility is high, was too long. And the other thing is the one piece of evidence that your technology, your solution, your yard arm thing was crazy. And will your solution work? I don't know how many of you listened carefully to his evidence. Listen to his evidence again that he read. Listen to this. If we arm everyone, our nation will become a bloodbath.
That was on my brief.
Yeah,
That was on,
That was on my
that was
brief.
an error.
right, which is on his, right, which he used. Of confused individuals with no understanding of how to use a gun or what to do with it. I'm sure as hell wouldn't trust myself with a gun. I probably would shoot my toe in an accident. Why lose shooting a toe when trying to get a fire? On and on. In other words, did you notice that he read evidence that contradicted his solvency? Yikes. Okay, Angela, I thought, is that me or
I don't know, I think it's you.
my phone's ringing?
It's an alarm.
You got a timer. Yeah.
Or a timer?
You have a
Okay.
timer.
Okay, great. Angela, on your, I thought your cross-sex was great. Oh, yeah. Jeffrey, maybe I didn't make it clear. A refutation was to go point by point to all of her points in the four-step process. Not just one time, but many times. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah. I understand now.
You understand now? Good. Okay. Okay, good. Because I guess I didn't make that clear enough. I thought Angela did a good job refuting, but not really following the 4 points of refutation precisely. The counter plan, I think your best argument was that your best thing was your study that says for every life saved, 7 are lost from the study. I think I would have stressed that and emphasized that. That was your strongest evidence. Elect a strong leader, okay? And
He's up.
Yes.
He's up right now.
he's up right now. Yeah, I just, I wouldn't have counterplanned is all, but.
Yeah, I didn't know, that was.
Yeah, but otherwise we had a lively debate over. And the other thing I would have said, by the way, is there are, for solvency for you, there are little segments of the country that allow people to carry. And there have been some studies on, an armed society is a polite society, is safer. And there have been some studies where rapes have gone down, where women have been allowed to carry concealed firearms. So there's stuff out there. Solvency. Little small pockets where it's been tried and used. Now, whether nationally. The other thing I think that you needed you let her get away with it, saying, you harm everyone, even morons, in the nut houses. You know, no, come on. No, you weren't saying that. You said, you know, everyone except criminals. So, and you said that clearly in your plan, but you didn't stick with that. And if you have a criminal record, you don't get a gun. So, okay, let's go on to the next one. Yeah, we have more cake here, so eat it up.